and it is natural that evolution continues. However, the burden of sustaining our culture should not fall solely on the youth. So I have three main points here. The first one is natural evolution of culture. As Zimbabweans move across borders, our cultural practices naturally adapt to new environments and influences. The evolution guarantees that cultural relevance and adaptability in diverse settings. Each generation contributes to the evolution of culture, while the youth bring innovation and changes. The elders provide fundamental knowledge and continuity. The second point, shared responsibility for culture preservation. Elders hold knowledge and traditions, but the youth bring innovation and adaptation for necessary cultural survival in a changing world. Sustaining culture is a collective effort involving all generations. While the youth drive innovation, elders provide guidance and wisdom. Empowering the youth. Youth engagement fosters a sense of ownership and pride in cultural heritage. The youth can act as ambassadors for promoting our Zimbabwean culture globally, but this can be possible if there is educational programs that the youth could take and be able to learn about the things that their culture is about. And this could also help us teach the younger generations when it comes time to that.
You were listening to the news that is happening with regard to Israel. Israel has been in the diaspora for more than 2,000 years. And it is only through the young people that they've managed to survive and be where they are today, because they've passed on their tradition to the young people. And I understand that it is true that culture evolves over time, and it can be challenging for communities in the diaspora to maintain their cultural traditions. While the youth are often seen as the future of a culture, it is important to recognize that sustaining cultural heritage is a collective responsibility that requires effort and support from all members of the community. So the youth are the future leaders and ambassadors of the culture. And it is essential to equip them with the knowledge, the skills, and values to carry on the traditions of our life. Young people are often more open to adapting to new environment and cultures, which can lead to innovative fashion and infusion or evolution of cultural practices. So I advocate that we don't want to have a lost generation. That is a generation without a culture. And because of that, we are thinking that our young people are the ones which can sustain their culture for those who are in the diaspora. So the youth are already navigating multiple things, cultural influence, and may not have this same connection to their cultural heritage as older generations. But we are trying to impart bit by bit. Just normal things of greeting is very important. Finish?
No, 1 minute.
No, the way you nodded, it's like I finished. Also, placing the burden of cultural preservation solely on the youth can lead to cultural burnout and exhaustion. So older generations have a wealth of knowledge and experience that should be shared with the young people to ensure cultural continuity. So we are not solely burdening the young people. We are trying to make them understand who we are. Your identity is very important. Who are you? Where do you come from? That is the question you are asked everywhere you go.
30 points this side, 0 points that side. I'm joking. No, thank you. Look, I think it's inevitable for cultures to evolve. Look, we don't disagree with that premise, right? But you cannot tell me kuti Simba ishumba, Simba no shumba, kana kati shumba, vanotyisa, iye anotozviziva kuti anofana kuzviziva. So he needs to know, what does the totem shumba means? That when people say, maita shumba, what does that actually mean? So it is on you, as the youth, to make sure that you carry out you maintain that. If you look even in the Bible, look at the Bible, read the first books of Matthew, of Luke, they can take you the genealogy back to the roots. But you can't tell me that, the cultures will evolve to a point whereby you cannot go back to the genealogy in the Bible.
With others, like what Reverend Makoti said yesterday, that you're meant to be a role model. So parents and like adults are supposed to be the role models, showing us the right path and like the right things to do. And as a parent, you're meant to be working, or adults, you're meant to be working side by side with your children, watching them in their own interactions and stepping in when they need help expressing themselves. You have to give them age-appropriate descriptions for decisions, choices, and actions. And like, we can't do things on our own because we don't have as much experience as adults have, in their life.
So we are here, youth. There are so many things that you can do in the diaspora, but there are things that you cannot do, which our culture doesn't allow. Just like God said, do everything else, but you don't follow their gods. So we can't stop saying to you, this is our culture. And also, I know that you all know British culture. You read lots of history from Britain, Australian history. Why not also African heritage, also African history, so that you know more about your culture, so that you won't have culture crisis. Thank you.
Responsibility still lies with the youth to uphold the evolution of culture. Okay, I agree, culture is dynamic and it evolves, but the responsibility still lies with the youth. The reason for it, guys, is when we talk about culture, sometimes we confuse that by linking it to the things, the nice to have, the nice to do things, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about culture. So as adults, our expectation is that, yes, it is our responsibility to teach you guys, but you have to be receptive to whatever it is we are trying to teach. So at the end of the day, after the class, after all has been done, it's up to you to uphold, to understand, to appreciate what you have learned and take it forward. We have also agreed that we are living in an anxious world where social media has taken over the parenthood, those things we used to do as adults to help uphold the culture. So it's up to you guys to relinquish that. Give us back that responsibility so we can teach you and raise you so we can uphold our culture. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's supporting us.
Good evening, everyone. I'm on the affirmative side. So my point is, as our parents are the last bit of culture holders that we have, my English is not good though, but yeah, you just get what I'm trying to say. So looking at some people I was talking to some people and they told me they came here when they were like in grade 3. So, and most of them, they're here and the culture is evolving, but only our parents can see the evolution of it because they've been there before we were here. So they have the last bits and all the bits of it throughout. So coming here and carrying that, they should pass it on to us. So therefore, the young people should not carry this burden alone. Therefore, our parents should also help us on that one.
I think your parents play a certain part in teaching you a culture, but I think it's now up to you whether to actually live out and continue that culture. Because I'll even give for myself, I came here only 2 years ago, but when your parents are not going to always be with you, they're not always going to hold your hand, to be honest, quite frankly. And you come from a situation in Kumbano Tara Shona, you come, now there's no one you speak Shona to, there's no one you can exercise your culture to. But it's up to you to continuously want to maintain that culture. So yes, parents play a part in teaching you, but as you live out your life, you also have that responsibility to want to continue your culture for yourself. Thank you.
Can I go that side?
So I'm on the non-affirmative side. Yeah. So I feel like calling the ability to keep your culture a burden is just a recipe for disaster. So whilst culture is evolving, we also are evolving with it. So we are the ones that are able to see that, okay, right now this is what's acceptable and this is what's happening in the world. That's how we change we take what our parents give us, because they give us everything, I guess, and we make it acceptable because we're living in an ever-changing world. And if we try to maintain the old values, we'll be looked at sideways. So I think instead of calling it a burden, instead saying it's more of a privilege to be able to carry your culture forward and give it to your next kids and your next kids and your next kids.
We as youth, we need to try to keep our culture, and that's and I feel like it's really important, especially because we're above all, we're black people, right? And Africans, and it's important, especially in a place where we're always a minority, to have that identity, because no matter how much you evolve in this country that you're in, you're never going to be equals to the people, to the whites. Like, this is how it is, unfortunately. And I feel like if you don't feel the burden to try and keep your own culture in a place where you're never going to fit in, then say you end up going back to Zimbabwe, which you most likely will if your parents take you there, or you come to a conference like this where you're filled with Zimbabweans and you've thought to yourself, it's not important for me to keep my culture, like, you're not going to fit in with people that are the same skin color, So I feel like it's important for you as youth to keep the culture, for one, because you're never going to fit in with the white people no matter what you do, and for,
Parents are the example. I want to talk to, you know what, let me talk directly to Reverend Makoti. Reverend Makoti, if you raised Gamshirai, when she sees Gogo Nkomo, if you raise it to say, hey, hey, how are you? Or if you raise it to even just walk by Gogo. If you raised it to say, we're having dinner, and she doesn't even think of Gogo, what is that? That's not our culture. I think one of the biggest things about Zimbabwean culture is that we are respectful. That is the pace that my parents have set, that we are respectful. There is no way that I would come to you and just say, oh, Johnson, right? But that is because my parents have set the example. I've seen parents come to church and say to me, why don't our kids know how to do X, Y, Z? Oh, my kids don't know how to say Makadi Enyu. Our kids don't know how to kneel down. It's because you haven't shown them how to do it. That is the culture. It's the culture you're so desperately wanting us to sustain. When you go back to Zimbabwe with these kids and they don't even know how to say Makadi Enyu Gogo, it's because you haven't taught them. Amen. It's because you haven't taught them.
As a parent, which I as myself have made a decision that this has evolved. There are some things that I will continue to teach my kids. I will not take everything that's from the Zimbabwean culture. There are some things that I'm going to leave behind that I do not even do myself. But at Makoti's house, they do these things. So they are going to continue to teach their kids. So some things differ in that way, that as parents too, we pick some things, we leave some things. So that's why sometimes it's different to when I go to someone's house and they'll do this. It's fine, but some things I don't even do them. So how can I teach them to my kids when I also think that I don't need to do this? So this is where culture differs in every household, because we also grew up where we do different things. So my household is going to do different things from what you do. But in general, of course, as you said, we are respectful. We should all say these things. Mangwanani, mamuka say, wait for the elders to get their food first. Those are kind of things that we generally pass to everyone. But my thing is, do you think yourself as a Zimbabwean? Because if you think yourself as a Zimbabwean, you are actually going to learn the culture of being a Zimbabwean. We are not arguing that we won't teach you. We will teach you. But will you be receptive to us teaching you? That's the question. I will ask this question to all the kids. If you were born in Australia, can you please stand up? If you were born here, please stand up. Because this is where it differs. Those people that were born in Zimbabwe that came here 2 years ago, the way you think and the way these kids think is different. Yeah? I'll just ask a simple question. Please do not lie, because I know some of these answers. Yeah? Zimbabwe and Australia is playing cricket tomorrow. Taona, which team are you supporting?
Zimbabwe.
Please. Sean, Australia and Zimbabwe is playing soccer tomorrow. Which team are you going to support? Tell the truth. Exactly. That is my point. You should be proud enough to say, I support Zimbabwe. So if you don't even support Zimbabwe, how can you pass on the culture? Yeah? Where we go now, if someone is from Greece, Greece is playing football. Europe now, they are wearing their Greece jersey right now. Because they want to. Not because their parents said, I'm buying this for you. It's because they want to.
Muri kuAustralia kuno muri kuimba dzimbowani muchitotamba dzechishona dzacho. Saka I'm so proud of you, because culture yedu ndeyekuti you have to know your mother's language and your father's language. But I'm telling you the truth. Pane kwe kwandakamboenda hanzi hatichadya sadza. Just because you are in Australia, hauchadya sadza manje. So culture haifanire, and even in me, you guys, you are from here, you were born here in Australia, you have to know that sadza. You have to know that we cook sadza once per while. Not just because I'm in Australia, I don't eat sadza. See, so those are some of the things. So my parents, of course, this is very important to teach our children. They've got a very big role to teach these little children, our girls and boys, culture of our home. We mustn't not we are Australia as a lot of Australia. We are still a Zimbabwean in Australia. So you mustn't forget our culture. Isusu takakura kuZimbabwe, it's only that most of the times we are here. Waizoona culture ifodya emunhu. Even in church, tinyazoziva kuti amai vakagara pavo dzinomboti kana dziri panze zokoti but dziri muchechi iculture iyoyo, but kuna Mwari haitombodiwa.
And I would like to say culture, as we have said, evolves. Ndoda kuti muzive kuti Zimbabwe was colonized from 1891 by the British. They never kusvika 1980 vamwe vacho they never even spoke Shona. Not even vakacolonize vachigara muZimbabwe paitwa neboundary. If you know muZimbabwe vaitoziva kutoti Julius Nyerere mutema wanga asingatendi kucrossa over. vachirarama varimo. Murunzise here. So ndiri kuti nini, by being here in Australia doesn't mean that you're an Australian. You've got an identity. That's why I find the indigenous people, they are fighting for their rights. They are not just fighting for their rights, they are fighting for their identity, which has been disrupted. That's why right now, some of them, they don't have the language. It's stolen generation, their language cannot be written. And now we are saying, haugoni kuziva kukosha kweidentity yako. Kusvika waziva kuti iwewe hausi muAustralian. Ungazvidaidza ukataura kuti I'm Australian because I was born in Australia. You are not. Do you get that? You are not. I like Mukuzei. You are black and you will never change. And I'm proud of being black. Do you get me? It's not a racial statement. I met a black man. It's not a racial statement. That's who I am. So I'm not ashamed of being a black person. You are black, then there is something wrong here. You need to be corrected from here. Because you are refusing your identity. You are what you are because of your identity. So, that's why my Italians, my Indians, they've got their own identity. But isisu, nokuti tinobatira culture, isiri yedu pamusoro, todakuita savamwe vanhu, and we lose our identity. We don't need to lose our identity.
I'd also just like to quickly close off with the definition of culture. Culture is all the ways of life, including arts, beliefs, institutions of a population that are passed down from generation to generation. Culture has been called the way of life for an entire society. As such, it includes codes of manners, dress, language, religion, and rituals, as well as art. Yes, we do have Zimbabwean background and blood in us. We're not denying it. But we're also in Australia, where there is another culture that we are currently living in, that we interact with every single day. Our parents, Zimbabwean parents, are not the only people that we interact on a daily basis. We also interact with people from other races. We're not arguing that the culture is a burden, but what makes it a burden is when you know nothing about your culture, but you're expected to perform to its standards. How are we supposed to know? Supposed to know the standards of which, to which we're supposed to perform with if we've never been taught. Hope gave a beautiful example where she said that some parents say to me, my children cannot even say Makadi. How is that Hope's responsibility when that child is coming out of their mother's household not knowing how to say Makadi? As a result of that child is now burdened in having to translate from one language to another language through praise and worship when it should be a seamless experience. I also just want to thank Maima Oneke for what she said. When she advised that she picks certain things from the culture because it's not everything that is now proving to be beneficial. So the point is, if the adults themselves who are carrying the Zimbabwean culture are still picking and choosing themselves, then who are we to be expected to just have to figure it out? As someone mentioned, that yes, it is evolving, but the way in which it's evolving in the Makoti household and your household is different. I would also just like to close off with Reverend Makoti's words. Reverend Makoti said that our parents are more qualified at life than us because they have experience. He preached this just the other night. In saying this, Reverend Makoti, you have had more culture, you have had more experience with this culture, you've had longer years on this earth. Should it not be your responsibility to make sure that we don't lose our way?
Amen.
to give up that girlfriend, give up that boyfriend because I want to be fully walking in alignment with God. And I know that it sucks to have to give up the things that you like the most or the person you like the most because, they feel so good, that emotion felt so good, whatever. But the Word of God tells us that He's got something for us that will actually replace those things. Everything we love so much in this world, God is much more than that. He says that He's not only the living bread, but He's the living water, which means that He will sustain us. This bread, this food that we're eating, it's nothing because God is the living bread. A lot of counterfeits in this world. There's a lot of things that will try to replace the love of God, that will try to replace the joy of God. You honestly be offered different things in your life, depending on what part of your life you're in. You're going to be maybe offered drugs one day. You're going to be offered alcohol one day. These are counterfeits for the love of God. These are cheap thrills. These are things that will get you excited for 2 seconds. And after that, it's instant gratification. But you have to stand firm and be of a sober mind. And that reminded me of James chapter 1, verses 2. From verse 2, it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you might be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault." So this verse, I really just like that verse from verse 2. Consider it pure joy. Whenever you face trials of many kinds, it doesn't mean that life will be easy. This Christian walk is not going to be easy. You are going to be attacked. You are going to face trials. You are going to face tribulations. But God says, consider it joy. You are actually supposed to be joyous in those trials. It sounds like the most bizarre thing, the most contradictory thing.
kupinda Jesu, hakuna hakushinda, hakuna makupinda Jesu, hakuna.
This team has 1 point, 3 points, 1 point. All right, next question. On which day did Jesus rise from the dead? Okay, no, this team has the hand up first. Yeah. Third. 2 points to the team. Well done. All right, next question. What was Jesus' crown made of? Okay, you know what? When does Jesus give his first sermon? Where does Jesus give his first sermon? Yes, that's correct. Okay, are you ready? Next question. How many days and nights did Jesus fast for?
Number 2. Name the first two apostles before the Father.
Doubling and yes, about to know. Yes, 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 yes. And you gonna get a 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 conga conga ni conga repo conga ko. Oh my Jesus is a nigonga repo conga ko. Makoto conga repo conga ko. That my father nigonga repo congingo. Conga 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 repo conga conga. My Jesus is a nigonga repo conga conga. That my Jesus is a nigonga repo conga ko. My God conga repo conga ko. My Jesus is a nigonga repo conga ko. My Jesus is a nigonga repo conga ko. Congingo conga repo conga ko. Congingo ndongo conga ko. Jesu wangu anikonga repo ngongi. Jesu wangu anikonga repo ngongi. Ngongi ngongo repo iye. Ngongi ngongo repo iye. Nzambe azamalamu nalingiye. Ndekoye banzambe azapomoye. Nakobanga tepo abalate kangaye. Jesu wami anikonga repo konga. Jesu wangu anikonga repo konga. Ngongo ngongingo karingongo konga. Masezuru kumbera kundikane kundikane. Masezuru kumbera kundikane kundikane. My Jesus is a nigonga repo kongingo. Konga konga. Konga konga. Konga konga. Konga konga. Konga konga. Oh my Jesus is a nigonga repo konga ko. My Jesus is a nigonga repo konga ko. Anigonga repo. Anigonga repo. Anigonga repo. Anigonga repo. Mungango ndikaira wera mupe makabudirira. Mungango ndikaira wera mupe makabudirira. Kudi tufia pa fobido. Ah, tufia pa fobido. Jesu wangu anikonga repo konga. Jesu wangu anikonga repo konga. Tiye kumamene makuma. My Savior. Tiye kumamene makuma. Konga ko.
Hi, my name's Diwani Mapolisa and I'm representing Brisbane. I think my highlight of camp was making all these new friends. As a new Zimbabwean, it's kind of refreshing to get to see people from back home, because I've been here like 3 months and I managed to make like so many new friends. I was scared at first, but I've made so many new friends and I'm so excited to continue our friendship journey, and I can't wait for Perth next year.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I'm from Sydney. I'm from Sydney, and I think my highlight from camp would be just last night when we were doing just praise and worship, and we were just worshiping God as youth. We just came together. Everybody had something that they had on their hearts, and we were all just able to sit together, be in the presence of the Lord, and just really just praise His name and sing His name, and just without even having to say what is burdening us or what is so heavy on our hearts, we would just manage to be in God's presence. And I know for me, that was something that I just couldn't find the words at the time to say to God. All I did was just I sang, I worshiped to Him, and all the things that I had on my heart, on my chest, it slowly went away. And I just felt that as I sat down in that room with all of the other youth, I just felt so loved and so surrounded by God, and He was really truly with us. So that was like the best moment of camp, and just seeing everyone from the different societies. We normally just see each other from the Zoom screens, and we never really get that personal connection, but every single person here has made a connection, a relationship with all the other people here as ambassadors of Christ. And I know that I'm able now to just go back home and to not only share what I've learned, but continue with the relationships and the connections that I've made. And that's all thanks to God. That's all because of His love and His mercy. He's brought us together for a reason. Like Reverend Makoti said, that we are here for a reason. We all managed to come here for a reason, and we have all used this time, and we have seen why we're all here. We have seen why God has put us together at this time, at this location, with this scenery, away from phones, even though there's a little bit connection, but it's barely there. He's shown us that I put you here for this reason, and I've revealed to you that reason. And now that we've understood that, growing in our character of being ambassadors of Christ, we have seen what God wanted to do in us and what He has done in us. So yeah.
Hi, my name is Cooper and I'm representing the Melbourne youth. I think my highlight of the camp, it's not just one thing. We did a lot of amazing things, a lot of encountering of God and being close to other young youth. It was just great to be in a space where there's everyone else. I really appreciate the preachers for what they taught us. It was really, it's something that we needed to hear as young youth. And I think that other highlights was the activities we did, team activities. It builds us to become closer, and that's how we made new friends. Being in a space where there's like new people even we haven't seen before, it's good to connect, and it was a good thing having activities that make us bond, and there's no like favoritism on choosing people. It was great to see people together, working together, team building. And everything that we were taught, and even the youth gala nights. I think the youth gala night was my best highlight because I did a lot of dancing. I unleashed my inner Zimbabwean during this camp, and I think it was amazing because it's something I needed, because I haven't been doing this for like months or years. And see you next youth in Perth.
Hi guys, my name is Melissa and I am from the Sydney Society, and coming to Adelaide this week has been a grateful experience, getting to meet new people, continue friendships with other people, but especially just getting closer to the Lord. Learning new songs with people was really enjoyable, praise and worship, making food with our groups, it was really enjoyable, and I feel that it's something that everyone should get to experience, whether it's every year or once in a while. It's definitely an experience that should continue and everyone should enjoy. Our theme this year was Ambassadors of Christ, and I think it was a very good theme to have, because in this world we're always challenged with many things, and with our young age and the things that influence our lives, I think it's important to always be ambassadors of Christ, especially in this world. And I really enjoyed camp.
Hey everybody!
everybody. We've come to the end of our conference. Tonight is the last night, and we've just had an amazing gala. Kuzi, how has conference been?
Conference has been nothing but amazing, guys.
Yeah?
I think you can tell from my voice. I've lost it with all the singing and dancing for the Lord, guys. It's been truly phenomenal.
Fantastic, yeah.
Phenomenal.
I know, and you know what? We are excited, guys, because next year, this conference is not going to Melbourne, it's not going to Sydney, it's not going to Adelaide, but where is it going? Perth! Where is it going? Perth! So every youth that is watching this video, we're so excited to see you at the next MYD 2025 conference. And we've learned a new logo, guys. How does it go? MYD!
Follow Christ!
MYD!
Follow Christ!
We'll see you there. Take care. Woo! Wait, how was that? I felt like